Hello, people, and welcome back. It's time for more BTS Europe Series action here. We're about to embark on a journey. We're going to go into our final best of two or two-game series of the day today. It's Yellow Submarine versus Flipsid Tactics. KotLGuy for Beyond the Summit. And, well, believe it or not, for this cast, I may be taking this one on solo. I can't really blame my co-caster for not really being around. I told them a different scheduled time, and of course I got caught up in the game casting and not really able to tell them that, hey, we're running about an hour plus behind schedule. So it's fine. I'll be here in the meantime kind of taking care of things, and we're going to just enjoy the show before us. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the action right now. If you're just tuning in to the BTS series, we're doing things a little bit different this time than what we've done in the past. We know, of course, we've always had the BTS Americas, BTS Europe, BTSC, where we always grabbed like 16 teams and threw them into a single elimination quick fire bracket that we would usually knock out in like 1 week's time. Like a good, awesome, small, quick tournament that takes only 1 week and will allow a bunch of teams, a bunch of like tier 2, tier 3 teams, maybe even some tier 1 teams. You know, they can make a name for themselves. They can get some scrim time in there and have it take, be a bit more serious than anything else. I mean, I'm not saying it's more serious than like the big tournaments, but sometimes in scrim play, people don't really play. They're all out. But now they're playing it. They're in the public eye. They're playing for a little bit of money, about 5,000 prize pool. It's not the craziest thing to brag about, but for some of these teams, maybe they've never made $1 playing Dota, and this could be their first time. So the dream is real, and this could be a stepping stone, a platform for them to be a part of like TI9 if Dota's still around. I don't know. It'll probably be like a VR game or something. I'll be old and definitely not casting, and you won't even remember who the hell I am. But here we are, Yellow Submarine versus Flipsid Tactics. Flipside, a name that's been around Dota for a while. It's been off and on. Like my earliest memory of seeing a Flipside Tactics was when they were a American team, and it was actually Team Leviathan. Before they were Team Leviathan, it was Team Flipside Tactics. I remember a lot of people in the local scene saying they were a pretty good up-and-coming American team, at least a team you could throw into a BTS Cup. So we brought them in, and that's when they just transitioned away from being Flipside Tactics and becoming Team Leviathan. Well, Flipside is now back, and they have gone into the European side. And they have grabbed up a couple of familiar faces, Sadoy, Vanscore. We've seen them around the block. Vanscore, remember, from Empire. Like, these guys, they have experience. Yellow Submarine, I remember seeing my biggest first impact of seeing Yellow Submarine be like, oh, this is an awesome team, was at the TI5 qualifiers when they had pulled out a cool upset against Na'Vi at the time. They played Pudge against Dendy, and they actually did pretty well. It was a great time. So I'm excited to see where both these teams stand now. Yes, I know I'm not really I don't know a whole lot about the European Dota tier 2, tier 3 scene, but it's always been a lot of fun learning about these teams, seeing these teams perform, and then I like kind of grow fond of them. And then when they move on and make it to the next big tournament, I can talk about how they made this whole journey to get to this point. So let's actually talk about the draft that's before us, gang. We got Yellow Submarine. They got a Kunkka, a Jug, and of course they're going to pick up the greatest hero in the game, the Keeper of the Light. Flipside Tactics go for their Wisp Bat Rider as an opener, and I've already moved on into the Ogre McGee here. Now, Yellow Submarine, we had just witnessed the KotL Kunkka pairing in our previous game, which happened to take about, 80 minutes or so. But the mobility was such an awesome tool for them in that last game. In the later portion of the game, being down 2 sets of racks and having to constantly keep tabs on those other lanes, and it's so nice to be able to have either the X to bring you right back or obviously the recall there in handy. It allows you to be able to have that kind of late game flexibility. So, whether you're in a bit of a deficit or not, having a KotL and a Kunkka on your team, it will allow you that kind of second chance to kind of come back. Kunkka's very good at being able to spam out the waves and keep pushes back, and I can say the same about a KotL too. So, lots of early game potential, and, well, Flipside are going to hope that they don't have to deal with too much pesky mana leak action. It's so funny because even in that last game, it was also a Kunkka KotL versus an off-lane Bat Rider, so we'll have to see. I don't think the Bat Rider went into the Iron Talon right away. So we'll have to see if this Bat Rider is going to try to duke it out in the off lane, or if he's going to have to, you know, sack the lane altogether and head off to the jungle and make work there. Who knows? Maybe Flipside is that kind of team where they even have a cheeky mid-lane Bat Rider. Well, that's not the case. I will quickly get the answer to that theory as they go right into the Outworld Devourer as their next pickup, the old D, if you will. Just kind of hitting it home in the mid lane. I like to call him like a mid-lane power player. You know, him, Razor, Viper, the holy trinity of the mid lane. Only so many can actually really be able to kind of get the upper hand advantage in a solid 1v1, but I don't know. Yellow Submarine don't have yet to pick up their mid lane unless they're planning on running the Jug in the mid lane. We saw it a couple of times already in this BTS series, and it is something that could go for again. Outside of that, I don't know, maybe Razor or something. But for now, stepping off and into the Nyx Assassin here, and this is going to be what looks like an off-lane Nyx Assassin, I would imagine, already picking up the Kunkka and the Keeper. As we know, Nyx, very, very good against the Outworld with that mana leak. He's also very good to have against the Bat Rider, too. You can't forget, using that Spike Carapace, just easily walk over the Firefly, and you can get that easy lockdown on the Bat Rider. So
Reserve time.
That's a nice little counterplay right there, and a fun little hero that we don't get to quite see enough of. And hell, even with some respectable late game potential with that Agnum Scepter, get some nice sweet lurker burrow action to kind of hold the high ground steady. Lots of high ground defense really for Yellow Submarine. We move through the second phase of bans here. Yellow Submarine getting rid of the Slark, which I'm seeing a lot of airtime today. Huskar has got to go because it is the second phase. And then for Flipside, well, they got to get rid of the Axe and the Dazzle. Interesting. Well, final ban being the Morphling coming out from them. Flipside are looking to seek their last power player pickup, and I imagine their one position. Maybe something that could pair respectfully with the Wisp. Does a Tiny fit the bill? I don't know. Tiny's not really cool. And he can be kited. Lifestealer is going to get the ban. All right, that makes sense. Lifestealer would have been pretty good. You have Bat Rider available as your vehicle, and also a Wisp, of course, to help you with the mobility. Can't fault that too much. But we go back the way of Yellow Submarine. Unfortunately, I don't have a handy chart here to be able to see if either of these teams have had any group stage games yet. But each group stage only, or each group only has 4 teams, so each team only has to play 3 others, and it's only the team that actually comes out on top that's going to be able to move into the playoffs. So I got lucky though that KotL did get picked. I mean, it's the only hero I know. So if I had to do a solo cast, I'm glad that I got one hero I know. Well, maybe 2. I think I would give myself credit that Earth Spirit's not too bad either, except that Earth Spirit's not really a cool pick anymore, so I don't get the luxury of being able to cast him again. We look back to Yellow Submarine now. It's their final pickup, and well, what we imagine being their mid laner, someone who's going to have to go toe-to-toe with the OD. I mean, Viper's dirty and could fare all right, but you know, we saw Viper in the last game, and maybe a Razor, but I don't know. Then you worry a bit about scalability. I mean, do you have to get something that can kind of go in tandem with the Jug? What about a Magnus? Oh man, Magnus would be awesome. I don't think a Magnus would hold up too well in the lane and would definitely lose it, but you know, then you have a Mag Jug and you have Storm Spirit. All right, we'll go Storm. That's fine.
Radiant team
Storm Spirit is going to be the pick, and you get the mana gas station, if you will, in a KotL. So Storm's going to be happy about that one. Plenty of opportunity. You can always pull the classic Alliance high ground defense and just ball lightning from the fountain with recalls pulling you back, but should be able to hold all right in his mid lane matchup. And you know, as Ryan was talking about earlier, depending upon the build up right there, we'll see how much he can go into being a fighter in the mid game, because if it's anything like we saw previously, if they tend to have a bit of a slow start, they can't really find their groove. And when you're going against a Bat and an OD and a Wisp, like, these things really hit a huge power peak in the mid game, and that's when Storm wants to really be, well, balling out of control. So
5 seconds remaining.
Ursa Warrior.
Final grab for Flipside is going to be Ursa. So not looking to bank on taking this one into the later portion, hoping to possibly close this one out sooner than later. Whereas Yellow Submarine have a pretty heavy scaling lineup. I don't know. If I was to favor something more traditional and if I was going to fall back on my KotL bias, I guess I'd probably lean towards the Yellow Submarines. But I don't know. Flipside Tactics also have pretty much everything you can ask for. It is a lot of single target hate. There really is not AoE to be had here on Flipside. I mean, Batrider lasso, Ogre's blasting down one guy, Odie's going outside of his ultimate, you know, single target blasting, Ursa's going for one. So we'll have to see if it's going to be more enough for them. We're in the game right now, so let's get at it. There hasn't been a pause, so something's weird. But we'll get underway. Let me fire off this hotkey right there, and we'll get into action. Early TPs come out both fronts here. Oh, man, look at this. Yellow Submarines. KotLGuy here, able to kind of TP right into the lane, is going to be able to block out the ward. Ogre holding both 2 sentries and 2 obs. It's not going to be able to get them down. It's a bit unfortunate, but it looks like he, I was going to say may have an escort, but they had to pop a smoke for this Batrider to come waltzing by. It looks like he will hand off the one obs ward, and KotLGuy's just not having any of it. He actually drops his own obs in the lane itself, so at least they can keep dabs. Keep dabs. Oh boy, you guys are going to have fun with that one. Keep tabs with where these wards are going to be ending up, because it looks like they're just going to have to settle for putting it elsewhere. What's the bottom lane matchup here? We got a Wisp and an Ursa. Oh, are they going to aggro this? All right. Personally, I love when a KotL is ran more in an aggro lane setup. I mean, it's more free-for-all to kind of just blast down the lane and do as he pleases. You know, when you're kind of stuck in that safe lane, support KotL position, you have to, you know, make sure you don't blast down the wave, don't piss off your farming core, allow them to do what they need, and don't be too much of a problem. 2-man stun, and a nice little grab of the bounty rune. Very cute play there from Flo. We'll snag that one up. But, and then the other part of it is you can always just get the mana leak, of course, and be able to do that. But as you can see, no mana leak had here for this KotL. He's going straight to the blast, and he wants to be a nuisance in this more aggro setup right now. At least for the time being. A Nyx KotL lane. All right. So we'll get our one-on-one in the meantime for the Storm OD matchup. We'll keep tabs on that based on the last hit charts. But, oh boy. As soon as I speak it, though, here comes Ogre, and he wants to be the bodyguard. Telling that Storm to get the hell back. Pops him with an Ignite and is happy to use all that fat muscle and heavy armor and HP regen to be able to be a bully and be in the face. KotL has shown himself in the lane now, so it's kind of a 2-on-2 until this Ogre comes into play. And I'm curious how much it's going to fare, because Ogre's coming around right now. They seem to be pinging it about, so let's see if they can weasel their way back. They have put their sights on the frail old man, and he cannot take too much pressure or too much damage. There's a good body block coming in, but they'll need a bit more. It looks like he'll be able to pop off some regen, and everything will be all right for the old man. He makes it back in a way, but dominance has been asserted now from Flipside in this bottom, and I don't know if things are going to be continuing to work out for the Nyx KotL pairing. We'll have to see. Once levels come in for the KotL, that will make things quite a bit easier. How are things happening up here at top? All right. Jug with the KotLGuy babysitter here. It's a nice pairing in hand, but Batrider doesn't seem to be too threatened by it. He will easily be able to sweep in here and just contest this pull camp and take what he can for himself. So I suppose it ends up being a bit of a win-win between the Jug and the Bat, but I don't know if it's the best thing in the world if you want a Batrider to really be farming so much. And KotL's not one to really be able to come and kind of impose his own will this early into the game. So he'll make some stacks and just casually be around to assist a buddy in need. But this is now Sadoy's territory here. The second KotL steps in is like, I will casually try to get a blast off, maybe snipe a creep. They are quick to pounce, man. And the mid lane matchup is going as most would expect here. The OD is really off to a hot start. 14-6 CS for him. Storm 9-2. It's all right, but most would expect that the OD would be able to pretty much do fairly well in the CS game. He'll even claim up a bounty for himself and walk his ass on back. Yeah, and he's really even just messing with the CS game too. Not making anything easy for this poor Storm. But Jug's going to continue to get what he needs. KotLGuy gets the full pull. That's where Batrider again comes in and can kind of contest the pull for himself. Everybody's kind of getting what they want out of it, and there's not too much trouble about it at all. I mean, until KotLGuy gets some levels, there's not really any sort of serious kill potential. I mean, with just the 1-1 between the X and the Torrent and a couple levels into Blade Fury, it could do some decent damage, but I don't know if it would be enough to take down a Batrider, so they'll kind of have to make do with it. It looks like, you know, the KotL, who had to step back from the lane, has been able to build up a couple of stacks here in the nearby camp. He'll help blast it down a bit, and Nyx will certainly benefit from all the extra gold. Is he finishing out an Iron Talon? Yes, he is. So, well, Nyx has given up on his offlane life, unfortunately, and will probably have to take his business to the jungle, I'm sure, because, yeah, it's a hard life down here in the bottom lane. It's a tri-lane that you can't really get a whole lot out of, and that will make things a bit simpler for Flipside. Ogre will then begin to have the free will to kind of run around and be a nuisance elsewhere, and Wisp will have time to farm up and get a greater share of XP and get that much faster to his level 6 and getting that relocate together, because this is certainly a team that's going to be putting some offensive relocates to use, I'd imagine. Careful there, Nyx. Well, it looks like he might have just bought out and will just take the deny, I guess. All right, back to the fountain and back to getting a hold of an Iron Talon that much faster. But we'll see. I don't know. I guess KotL can hang out in the bottom lane and just casually throw out some Illuminate blasts and hope to creep close enough to, you know, sap some XP. I don't know. That's what I would do. I ain't a pro. Mid lane. OD. We'll see the Nyx. I mean, the life is not getting any easier here. They have actually embarked to jump on Flow here in the mid lane between the three. A long dive on in, but look at return fire coming out. KotL's able to catch out the Ogre with a little bit of a blast. And Flow continues to run circles around the trees, avoiding the OD as long as possible. And the Wisp dives right on past and forward and is barely able to etch away. The meanwhile is the Storm Spirit able to get the takedown of the Ogre. It's a deep committed dive. They will eventually get Flow, but they were working much harder for that than they expected. The rotation came in from Yellow Submarine, and it was fast. Meanwhile, up and above, that means that Artez is going to be left all alone. Gets burnt down a little bit, but he makes it through the cheese and under the safety of his own tower. So all is well, and with a little bit of early bloodshed, we have an even game once more. And as I said, you know, with how things are working out in this bottom lane, and now that we'll definitely be seeing probably some jungle play, this Ogre doesn't really have to be tied down by any lane, and he's going to begin to move around. He does need to get some XP. He's only level 2, so we'll see what happens here. A jump for the Batrider. Can they get close enough? They couldn't get close enough for the X. He goes for a blind Torrent. That does not connect, and suddenly the Ogre shows himself, and they make some work done. We'll take down the KotLGuy. Flipside will pull ahead now 3-1. Wait, 3-1. Well, already impact happening here. Flipside move across the board. And Storm is right back here at bottom. It's only level 6, but, you know, with a bottle in hand and a KotL nearby, let's see if he's thinking about making a jump blinding light play. Vanscore's creeping in. Him and Shotch Glow moving forward, but no one looking to pull the trigger yet. Finally, Ogre steps in, puts his sights onto the Nyx assassin, holds him in a bit. Not enough. Submarine can't get close enough to get the last slash, and he's going to be going down. Oh, a little bit over eager on that one, and a good jump in from the Storm. And now Yellow Submarine's looking for a potential turnaround play, but rotation has come from Flipside, and now the situation is a bit more awkward than when it started. Artez on his Jug, creeping in. He's eating a little bit of fire damage. The little kitty ward trying to help out, but now he walks into a stun here, and he has to walk out and Blade Fury away just as fast as he showed up. OD would love to move on in and kind of hit them where it hurts, but they're quick to retreat back under the tower, and it's a full 5-on-5 here in the bottom. And I think both teams will, okay, we've had enough. So not nearly enough bloodshed for how much attendance was necessary. Scratches were traded, but it looks like they'll kind of part their ways and get back into their grind of farm. Ortez will head back to the fountain without really being able to contribute too much into that skirmish, but he will pick up his Aquila and head right back into the farm here. Storm actually takes up the top lane. Interesting. I guess Kunkka has been left in the mid lane for a bit, but eventually the Jug might take that spot. And the only real consistency has been that this OD has taken pretty much the majority of the farm through this mid lane, doubling the CS game of the Storm, while the Storm has now been kind of moving around a bit. And, well, it does look like they've been able to cross paths with Vanscore. And an X into a simple, isolated Omni Slash is really all it takes. So Wisp will go down, and it looks like Yellow Submarine will be able to even this game right back up 3-3. Take a very early peek here at the net worth, and you can see that the OD is still reaping all the benefits from that successful laning phase, sitting at top of the net worth, and, well, just as I say that, the Storm is back in the game for sure. He's got 2 kills now, which certainly helps out. You know, CS isn't necessary for that, and his jungle game is continuing to really be on the up and up. Meanwhile, mid lane, Tactical steps in with his real first lasso of the game and is going to be able to get connection there, pulling back Artez. Leads to him being, well, a burn victim. He gets torched on up from the Ignite and from the firepower of this OD, and he's taken down. And with that, they're going to be following it up with an and 1 on this tier 1 in the mid lane.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Good grab for Flipside now. Takes what was once their pretty mild net worth advantage and bumps it up quite a bit. I'm curious if this KotLGuy is going to go for Arcanes right now. I wonder if he's an armlet kind of a guy, you know? I'm a bigger fan of the armlet kind of a guy. And then for Artez, you know, is this a fighting kind of a game? Do you want to play that fighting kind of a game? You're going against an Ursa lineup. Do you go and step off for a Yasha? Do you go for the Battle Fury and play more of the farm game and understand that maybe your late game could kind of take advantage of Flipside? All these answers and more in the near future, I'm sure. But as the 10-minute does spark, we got a double damage that's going to be picked up here from the Storm as he takes his business back towards the top. A lot of attention here from Flipside in hopes that they can get this Bat Rider closer and closer to his Blink Dagger, even accompanying him with an Ogre to try to sap up his own share of XP. They just need that Initiator. I mean, yeah, you have a Wisp, and well, he's level 4.5, almost 5. It would be nice to have that relocate, but more options the better here for Flipside if they kind of want to get a good head start in some of these upcoming fights. And we also have Vendetta up and ready here, so let's see what kind of opportunities the Knicks can find here. I'm sure his crosshairs are going to be on the Wisp a good portion of this game, but for now it looks like he's not going to really pounce onto anyone. He'll just kind of wiggle his way back home. So it's unfortunate for him. That's his first Vendetta, I believe, of the game, and he's not really able to kind of find any sort of easy openings here. But I wouldn't be surprised if you look at Flipside, you look at the vision they have, and you don't really see a whole lot of what's happening on the Yellow Submarine side. With Vendetta probably up, you probably would rather play with the buddy-buddy system and avoid any sort of trouble whatsoever. We look to Sadoy now. While he's still working with the bottom lane, the rest of his team is making a mild advancement towards the top. It looks like they were hoping to get an opening there on the KotLGuy, but will not be able to get the grab. But for the notice of Sadoy here, with already his Morbid Mask, I mean, Vlad's is certainly underway, and then, I don't know. They've already planted a pre-planted ward by the Roche Pit, probably to help spot out anything to see if Yellow Submarine are kind of keeping tabs on the area or planning a ward themselves, and then they can hope to get it from behind their back. Oh, bad at 1800, man. He's so close, yet so far. But they're sharing the jungle, it looks like, here a little bit. Sidoi being able to farm with these stacks will get Whis to his level 6. Relocate is online and ready to go. Where is Flipsid going to use it here? I mean, I was just looking at their vision, and they don't really have any extra vision, really, on the other side, so... I guess it's something they're just going to have to hold back on for now. Yellow Submarine are very antsy, though. I guess they see that Flipside's missing quite a bit, and they were making their own approach towards the Roche Pit. They pinged inside of it, feeling that maybe the Ursa might be there. They get close enough to see that that's not the case, and then they are going to be forced to double back and kind of get back into what they were doing. Well, this answers one of our questions one of the questions I was talking about. And Yasha is going to be in store here for Artez and his Jug, so he's going more fight heavy. Not going to be playing that serious Battle Fury farm game. It's a boring game. But still, back to the farm we go here. I mean, for both sides. Support's got Tranquils and they got a smoke. Okay, here we go. I was getting angry. I was getting feisty, man. I'm just like, can we just see some bloodshed, man? Here's Storm Spirit now. Level 2. He's got his level 11. Level 2 Ball Lightning. Let's get some work in right now. They were heading towards the bottom lane, but it looks like they caught a brief glimpse of possibly where the Bat Rider was, but they're here to play now. They'll blast through the wave. They'll add some pressure on tier 1s, but a slippery Flipside squad is apparently not easy for them to get a hold of, and this smoke really doesn't lead to whole much at the moment. While they go for a trade on a tier 1, Flipside go for their own here at the top. I should probably mute the sounds of that, so let me do that. Alright, there we go. Sorry about that. Tier 1s are split. I apparently didn't miss a whole lot. Tier 1s were split. And with a new bounty in hand here, Storm Spirit's going to be pulling back off. And as they congregate and wait for the approach, Flipside are going to be taking a more of an aggressive stance here. They actually smoke and they're going to invade towards the Yellow Submarine side. Ooh, they're hoping to catch across someone a bit greedy here. Obs are down. Carl's blasting. I love that he's taking the safer spot in the low ground, but that's why too. They still won't be able to get the jump, but hey, it's just a Coddle at the end of the day, and he'll be happy if he has to tank the gank. That's a fun little thing. I mean, you got to make sure when you're a Coddle and you're doing sacks and you don't know if you're safe, do it from that way. Don't stand here and be in this awkward, vulnerable spot. Do it from the low ground. You will hit them, and then they have to run all the way around, and you're in a nice, safe spot. I mean, even there, he's not going to be able to make it away. They have a bat with a lasso and a blank and everything, but A for effort. Yellow Submarine will avoid the smoke invade there from Flipside, only costing them their Coddle. I could have sworn I just muted those sounds! There we go. Now it should be muted. All right. Flipside not done yet, though. Both these teams very feisty to kind of make their big play happen here. A push in the bottom lane would be pretty crucial to them. They could eliminate this tier 1 access point and take it away from Yellow Submarine because they want to do the Roche, man. They have an Ursa. You have a quota. You got to go in there. You got to get the Roche done. But Yellow Submarines are around. They're about that life. Blast begin to fly out here from the Coddle to try to slow down Flipside from making their advancement. They will get the X. The Torrent won't really be there. And now the jump from the Ursa. Not going to be followed up by a whole lot. They get the Vortex pull. A force back in. Boat right on through. Bit of an awkward fire from both fronts, and it seems like that may be the end of it. But Chase is had here. They have the X. They have the pullback. But there's going to be the Self-Astral. We'll dodge it out. He's waiting with the Torrent, though. And it will also be not quite connecting properly. Pull back X after the Omni Slash. Ogre takes it, but then will quickly fall with one auto attack after. Turns into a 3-for-0 trade. All Yellow Submarine. The biggest action we have seen so far. And they are going to be able to hold their tier 1. Move forward and take a tier 1 themselves. Very awkward situation there for Flipside. Moving in for the tower. Ursa a confident blink in, but then was quick to try to make it out from how deep he dove. But we'll see if a response will be there. KotLGuy with the pullback lasso play leads it to a Blade Fury. Artez looking to make a hasty retreat. A good X will force the Ursa back towards the tower and will allow Yellow Submarine to kind of totally step off. But the Kunkka boat will fly. He's living on. The rum is a-shaking, and he's going to be fine. Meanwhile, Vanscore not going to be so fortunate. Tried to do the tether out, but he's not going to get it. Here goes the OD, dropping down the hammer, but it's not going to be good. It's just a mighty weak mallet at this point in time. Sudoi's back in the action now. He gets a brief save from the Astral, but it's still not going to be good for him in the end. He pops right back out. He will be going down. Are they going to continue moving forward here? Both Bat and the OD feeling pretty confident. Flame Break is going to be a bit short. And a very weak and wounded Yellow Submarine squad will hustle themselves back inside the base. Yeah, Flipside are able to rotate themselves back to the bottom for a bit of a response play, but they still lose a lot for it. And they're not done yet. Ogre's still hanging around, so Storm is back and he jumps in. And he just takes the Ogre and sends him into the Shadow Realm. Oh, thanks for trying to let me know that Ryu is muted. I didn't know Ryu was muted this whole time. God damn it.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is falling.
He actually wanted to make sure I didn't have Ryu muted. No, guys, Ryu's not here. There's no co-caster. It's Jesus Christ. 6-9 now, a slight advantage here. Yellow Submarine kind of getting the best of these last couple of little trades. Has allowed them to kind of, well, plummet this graph into a 3K plus net worth advantage their way, and they have the lineup that benefits from this so much more. I mean, looking at Flipside, the commitment for the Ursa and what is a bit of a more of an early game stride, we're not going to be able to see so much success with how things are progressing. All right, the relocate threats are not feeling too threatening at the moment. And here comes Yellow Submarine. Oh, Sentry dropped. But Nyx Assassin decides to go all the way up and around here, not looking to get too much closer. But, you know, it feels like Flipside are trying to do something to take some momentum back their way. Because with any sort of big fight, big play, they can follow it up. They can get the Roche at the drop of a hat and pull themselves back into this one. But Yellow Submarine are happy to farm up. Their Carl's already actually building up his Agnum Scepter. He's got the point booster. And about 700 gold too. Oh my god, this Nyx Assassin almost has an Agnum Scepter. Bloodstone already done. Alright. I mean, items are coming on in here for Yellow Submarines. They are going to get the grab. They pull Artez to the high ground here. But he goes promptly for the Blade Fury TP out. And he's good and gone. Heads actually all the way back to the fountain here. The rest of his team will continue the fight. And they look to make a go connection here for the Ogre. It will get a good boat. He's out. And with Yellow Submarine moving in, they might think about making a go for the Roche, but they're not done making chase. Right on top of the hill here is going to be Sudoi. Tries to muscle his way right on forward here. A lot of damage onto the KotL, but still going to be fine. Finally, he'll be able to get the catch up and will be able to get the finish. But OD not going to be so blessed here. Storm moves in, but Storm is low on mana. They will be able to get their job done. Vanscore is going to be going out. They go for Sudoi next. Can they get enough to stop him? A Flame Break will bump them back. Artez is trying to rush on through, but ends up almost burning himself for it. Jump in. Earthshock is going to miss. Can't quite get the connection. Now he's limping his way all the way back and somehow makes it into the safe zone. Flame Break is there. Flow is going to begin to burn, and he will be caught out. Chase is had here from Flipside, hoping to make Yellow Submarine pay. And we will be at 9-11 there. Yellow Submarine end up losing 3 at the end of the day. A hard commitment in, but I don't know. It was a bit all over the place. Flipside were able to kind of jump in and out of that one and manipulate the positioning of Yellow Submarine very nicely. And they were in a bit of an awkward spot. We've been seeing Artez unfortunately have to chase around people more often than being able to kind of slash them down. And at the start of that whole thing, was put onto the high ground. And, well, speaking of the devil, being chased around once again by 3 here. Tries to Blade Theory and make it away, but He has nowhere to run. He just pulls out a desperate Omni Slash, a relocate to pull them away from trouble. And he's going to be fine, but here comes the rest of the team. Sadoi's going to be caught right in the middle of the mix, and Astro will help keep him alive, but at the end of it, he will go down, and it does not matter. Now looking to move on in. Here's his Yellow Submarine looking for the revenge, but they're going to get it beaten down here. Look at this OD, begin to go to work, bops down 1, bops down 2, gets the double kill. And is not done there. Moves in, gets the triple. Nice little cleanup there at the end, finishing off the keeper. And now, as mighty as ever, Flipside. Well, a hell of a fight. What a cute little sidestep there from Vanscore, able to avoid the serious Omni Slash play there from Martez. It looks like they had already taken the bulk of the damage, but absolute chaos here. Take a moment to check out the updated here. Because of that big swing of a fight, Flipside have actually pretty much managed to bring this game back even once again. My God, Team Agnum Scepter slowly beginning to form. It looks like this Storm's set to grab his Orchid. He's already got both Oblivion staffs, and I don't think they're going to be taking another fight until that one is finished. I don't know. Are we satisfied with what this Ursa has been able to do for his team? It's working out all right for now, but a lot of that credit goes to this OD who's already got a freaking Hurricane Pike to sport, not opted for any sort of early Dragon Lance. Hurricane. Relocate, jump into the mid, beautifully executed. They're going to go right for the Jug and try to burst him down. He does get the Blade Fury off. He does run to make it back into way. Can his team save him? It looks like he'll be able to make it out. Gets to the ward and gets to the safe zone. Whoa. A photo finish for him to be able to make it away on that one. And Flipside go for a hasty retreat. Pop of the Carapace is going to be a bit too late to make connection for the Flame Break, but they are going to be able to make the jump on the back of the Storm Spirit. They get the connection for the OD just as fast as able to pull together that triple kill. Yes, Yellow Submarine will be able to pull back that bounty. And they are making Flipside pay for trying to come down on mid. Artez lives on, and Yellow Submarine pocket 2 kills. And with that, opportunities open up. Yellow Submarine trucking on in, having that push lineup here, going for the tier 2. A deep jump here will allow the Storm to quickly clear out the next wave of creeps. As you can see, Nyx showing off his fancy new Agnum Scepter. Doesn't really help too much when you're pushing forward in a lane, but it's there and ready. And there will be the jump out. And it's going to be a smoke. Yellow Submarines take business elsewhere. Probably going to head all the way over for the Roche as fast as possible. We'll have to see if Flipside maybe looking at their vision. They will see it look like one little Jug cross that middle path. And they can kind of get the idea that maybe, just maybe, Yellow Submarine are over by that Roche pit. How fast can Yellow Submarine do this, though? They don't have that all-star Roche lineup. It is going to take a little bit of muscle power here. There's the scan out the front door. But it really doesn't look like there's going to be any sort of opposal here. By the time they smoke and head that way, this Roche is going to be down. And it's gone. Just as fast as it happens here, Flipside are actually close. If that took a little bit longer, Flipside might have been in a position where they would not have been able to jump back out from. Storm, though, committing in very deep, very hard, goes right into getting lassoed up. Now, he did pick up that Aegis, so he might just lose his first life as fast as he got it. But after a deep dive, they're able to get the Wisp down. They blast on forward. The Ogre's soon to fall. Now they're going to get the OD. It's all worth it as they come stampeding down this mid lane. Yellow Submarine begin to sink lower into the bottom of the ocean. As they lose 4 all day, Yellow Submarine should be able to... Did I say Yellow Submarine sinking in the bottom of the ocean? Yellow Submarine ain't sinking. They're floating. They're flying high. What the hell am I talking about? Yellow Submarine with the big plays there will take the lives of 4 and be able to move on for a tier 2. I am absolutely delirious. What do you do now if you're Flipside, though? And what do they have in their arsenal to make something work? Well, all their ultis are up and ready. Bat Rider Lasso's there, but you have still about 16 seconds for the OD to even be up. And Storm ain't about waiting. He's moving in. He's looking to go for the Wisp. He has the Aegis, so what does he care? He's a badass. Jumping in, looking to get the job done. He does get lassoed up, but it forces the lasso out, and he still doesn't die. They're going to be able to get that Wisp down, no problem. And soon after, it looks like they might get Artez. He had been diving in. He does not have the luxury of being a Storm Spirit and jumping right back out or walking away or having the extra life, so maybe a bit too greedy by him. He will end up being dropped, but it does cost Flipside quite a bit to be able to hold here. So with what they've gotten, Yellow Submarine, they decide to withdraw. And we decide to pause, because why not? Right? Why not? Whew. That's all right, though. Now we have a second to check out our graphs and all the buttons I failed to hit during the game. Here's our overall team net worth. It's been pretty much on the up and up for Yellow Submarine for the past 2 or 3 fights, so this has allowed them to move into about a comfortable 10K net worth advantage area. We look over at the XP, and yeah, it's about the same. These graphs are pretty damn identical as they are. Item progression, though, that's where the real key is, because suddenly things got out of control, and it was Yellow Submarine who started stringing together all these big items, like your Diffusal Blade, apparently, like your Agnum Scepter on your Nyx. And now after taking a pretty strong commitment around the Roche Pit, taking the Aegis and doing some work down the mid lane, they are going to regroup and move on elsewhere here. It seems like it could be the bottom lane. I mean, it's only going to get better, I would imagine here. Yellow Submarine kind of had that better scaling lineup, but and an Ags. Can't forget, also an Ags on your KotL. I, for one, know this is a game changer in itself, especially during daytime. And that's why. So now you have X, and you have Recall. You can pretty much send anyone anywhere you want to go. I mean, imagine the possibility of just Storm always being able to go right back to the fountain. It's ridiculous. We look to Flipside now to see what they're going to be able to do to stop the unstoppable Yellow Submarine force here. Desperate to make an attempted push out. Their high ground defense a little bit lacking here. And overall, we're just kind of hoping to give a bit more of a stronger head start. It's crazy, too, because when you think about it, when we look back, OD, a wonderful laning experience for him. Outmuscled the Storm, but the Storm found great recovery moving into the jungle. The Nyx kind of accepted he was going to be losing the bottom lane, sacked it a bit, moved into the jungle. They got what they needed, and seems like just overall have the better synergetic draft. I'm saying big Dota words that are hoping are passing right now. Tier 3 goes down. A jump in now happens from the Storm as he heads up, looking to get the grab. Quick relocate does happen, but that's along with the Astral here, and it's on nobody. They actually thought he might be there, so they tried to stun, but Vanscore did a nice job pulling him back out and getting him right back towards the fountain into the safety area. But now Storm moving in, trying to get the finish for the OD. Still has that Aegis. No real focus on the racks quite yet. There's going to be the move. It's for Artez. They get the last one to get the pullback, but the boat will fly forward here. Helps with the rum and mitigating everything up. So Artez is going to be good. He's running away, but he gets spanked. Right, the last hit is going to be there. Sadoy, nice quick last second jump. Puts him back inside. Storm goes right back to work, though. Still with a second life. They will get the ranged racks down. And it looks like both of them will end up dropping at the end of the day. Well, they end up holding for now, but the damage, it has been done. Yellow Submarine get what they want. The center racks is going to be down. They're hoping to see if maybe anyone from Flipside gets a bit overzealous and walking out. Hoping to go for a big pick-off turnaround play, but getting what they need and pulling out now with racks means that you walk away with a huge stack of cash right now. Gem on hand. KotL's got about 2K gold. Kunkka's got nearly his armlet, or pretty much his armlet if he wants to throw it together. On top of already completing his Orchid, there's a Lincoln's. There's items, people. What do you want me to say? There's a shit ton of items here on the side of Yellow Submarine. Reaping in from huge amounts of gold. It's pressure on Flipside here, and this is a yellow smoke. Let's see what they can do with it. They really have not been able to kind of dictate any sort of fight. They are the ones getting jumped. No one to pounce on this OD. Crossing the skies here, looking to move up and beyond here towards the top lane. But I don't think they're going to be able to find anyone to get the catch here. Oh, look at that. Storm gets recalled in, and then he makes the jump and catches out the Wisp from behind. The whole smoke gank has been totally debunked. Right as they're making their move towards the top, the Yellow Submarine crew roll in from behind. Beautiful recall sends the Storm back, allows him to make the jump setup. As the Ursa wants to run in, they just totally sidestep him all together, and his full BKB and his full ulti is pretty much used for nothing. Now they'll turn their sights onto him. They'll pull him back in. They'll torn him up. They'll bring him on down. The OD will be falling next. And I imagine the towel to be thrown in not much further ahead at the rate that this is going. Flipside just take that one on the nose. And this will allow Yellow Submarine to kind of parade down this lane. For the love of God, Ryu is not muted. Ryu's not even here. Sometimes I pause because I'm talking a lot and my throat hurts. I need to just take a moment to breathe, for the love of God. I'm sorry. Our jump in from Storm. He's got Van Score, man. He has had Van Score's number all game, as most Storms probably would love. So, what really more can you do about it? It looks like game number 1 is going to be set here for the Yellow Submarine crew. It is still a 2-game series after all. But I got to say, I feel like 3 times I've seen Wisp games and 3 times I've seen it not succeed. Jump in, immediate Yules onto Sadoy. He is going to be able to catch out Artez with the help of the lasso setup there. Here comes Flipside, doing the best they can with what is got to be their final Harama defense after the BKBs will expire, though. Allows the Storm Spirit to move right back in and goes certainly to work. And boom! After a mighty drop of the OD, an emphatic closure will be had. Good game has been called. It's going to be Yellow Submarines who take game number 1. Well, that was a good time. Congratulations, Yellow Submarine. They will take game number 1 against Flipside Tactics. Flipside Tactics, man, they had a pretty good start. I was giving them a lot of praise. The OD was able to really take on the Storm. Ursa was getting everything he needed in the bottom lane, but it wasn't good enough. Not this time. So anyways, gang, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut to a break. And when we come back, we'll be hopping into game number 2 of Flipside versus Yellow Submarine. I'm not sure if I'll be by myself for the next one, but we'll see. So I'll see you guys soon, okay?